evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. Boy, we have a pretty good show tonight. We have Carrie Johnson from Chicks and Salsa in the house, our Chiefs correspondent out in Kansas City. I don't know which one is it, Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri. That's a teaser for what we're about to talk about later. Welcome back, Carrie.
Thank you. Pleasure to be back.
And we got old Steve Areno, Mr. Reichel. Welcome to the big show. He's going to be joining me beginning Monday night on The Professor and the Pupil, and he's going to get schooled that night. And we're going to bringing in some interesting guests. He's also going to, Steve, I just want to make an announcement that he will be writing for the South Florida Tribune as well. So as we further develop Steve into the sports media program between being a writer and going head-to-head with me on Monday night, Professor and a Pupil, this is just another step where this man wants to get going. And I'm looking forward to seeing Steve achieve every single goal on the planet. With that said, Steve, I'm sure you're looking forward to the next step in the process.
Absolutely. Let's get ready to kick them tires and light them fires, my friends.
I don't know any other way. So and we have Ben Troop, former NFL player and senior comedian. What's up, Big Ben?
I mean, it's always good to be on with you. You know what I'm saying, Scotty? And listen, them Gator boys stay hot. You already know what it is. Shout out to them boys winning it all last night. You know what it is.
You guys are the best. This show is going to do some unbelievable things. And Candy Ebling.
Thanks, Scott, for including me on the show tonight. I get to come from behind the camera, the producer role, and be in front of the camera tonight.
And normally Bo comes on, but he is tied up with another commitment, but he's helping us spread this word to his audience. We want to thank Bo Crouch for being here. He's been with me for a long time. So I know that Ben and Steve had an opportunity to work with Bo. Candy has, and I think you saw him once too, didn't you, Carrie? So Bo is a true pro. So thank you very much, Bo, for also helping us out as well tonight. You're definitely you're one of my loyal people, and I'm so proud of everything we've accomplished together. Now we put the compliments out there, and we're going to talk about something I did during the Super Bowl. And I had an opportunity to ask Patrick Mahomes a question about whether or not he thinks that Joe Montana is somebody that he actually views as a mentor of sorts. Candy, go to the roll.
Okay, here we go. Share the screen. Here we go.
Thanks. Hi, Patrick. I've covered the NFL for over 40 years. I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks throughout, but one of the guys that stands out to me is Joe Montana. He won Super Bowls with the 49ers, and he nearly got one done with the Chiefs. What are your thoughts about Joe Montana, and have you been able to learn anything throughout the years watching this guy play? Because he's certainly in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, a legend of the game. I mean, I think what made Joe such a tremendous player was how calm he was in these big moments and how he could continue to elevate his teammates. And so I think that's what I learned more than anything is just whenever you're in the face of adversity, don't show it. Go out there and just be who you are. Be cool, be confident, and I think that bleeds through the rest of the football team. And so that's what I think I've learned most from Joe Montana. Thanks, Matt.
Well, there you have it. We'll start with Mrs. Chief here. What are your thoughts about what Patrick Mahomes said about Joe Montana?
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, that's pretty. Joe's worth. Joe, we got to see him for a few years in KC. We didn't have the success he had in San Fran, but I remember as a kiddo watching him. So on live TV. So that dated myself for some of you, but he's one of the greats. He's one that's done it all and has the accolades to go with it.
What do you think, Steve?
They don't call him Joe Cool for a reason. I mean, Pat pretty much nailed some of the aspects about it. I mean, it's unfortunate as he was getting towards the latter end of his career when he went to KC, his body was just falling apart on him. He was he was getting cortisone injections. He was doing this. He was doing everything to kind of stay upright, and didn't work out for him in KC. But Joe had a lot of great qualities of which made him special. There's just so many different things that you could pull to that for Pat to want to be, idolize someone like a Joe Montana. So for me, like, listen, obviously, my brother was a big 49ers fan, so I had to listen. I had to listen and see a lot of the Niners games and stuff like that. Joe had a lot of good things going in his favor. They were a great team. They were the I guess the 80s 90s dynasty. For lack of a better term. Unfortunately, he couldn't get a few more there because for the longest time I wouldn't even put Tom Brady in that conversation with Joe for a period of time. And listen, you can say a lot of things for Joe couldn't do this, Joe couldn't do that. Listen, he was almost perfect when it came to the clutch times and things like that nature. I like to say Jalen Hurts has that quality in him too, but Joe and Pat, him having him as a mentor or somebody to kind of look up into the sport is not a surprising thing.
I remember seeing Joe Montana beat the Detroit Lions at Candlestick Park during his last game ever as a 49er. It was unbelievable. They beat the Lions 24-3, Candlestick Park in San Francisco. That was right around my 30th birthday. So in fact, that was the night before my 30th birthday. So if you add about 32 years to it, then you can figure out my age. What do you think, Ben?
I think Patrick Mahomes have a lot of things in common, like Steve said, with a guy like Joe Montana. Joe Montana had Bill Walsh. A guy like Pat Mahomes got Andy Reid. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice. Pat Mahomes got, Travis Kelce. And, of course, if you take anything from Joe Cool is, as great as he was as a player, he kind of made you think he was that great of a person. We didn't get a chance to obviously talk to him, but he let his personality come out. And I think for a guy like Patrick Mahomes coming from Texas Tech, the thing was he idolized Brett Favre coming out of college, being a gunslinger. But I think when you look at a guy like Joe Montana, and obviously Joe Montana became something he can look to once he started winning championships, because you don't want to get compared to Joe unless you win a championship. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is his own man. And when you winning, the more intriguing you become. We are always more intrigued by the winner. So, yeah, I think that what Patrick Mahomes said is right. Is right on, spot on. And Patrick Mahomes is never ever gonna be linked to a carbon copy. Authenticity is what I see when I see him. And like I said, I know that Tom Brady gonna be seen as the GOAT because of how many championships he won. But if you might not wear a 49ers fan, but you were a Joe Montana fan. The way he played football made you either love playing football or wish you could play football. Because that man was painting out there on the field. The way he was able to, and I get it who he had around him, Roger Craig, J.J. Stokes, and T.O. I get it, but I believe all those players had Joe. And they had Steve after him. But, yeah, man, Joe Montana, if you see him with Joe Montana in person, you're going to be starstruck. Man, that's Joe Montana right there, man. Like, for real, like, that's Joe. And nothing against Patrick Mahomes, but if I saw Joe Montana, I'm going to have to tell the wife to give me a second. I got to go make sure that he knows I'm here, and then we can go on without
Well, all I'll tell you is Joe Montana was undefeated in Super Bowls, period. And everybody will know what he did with that catch Dwight Clark that put him in Super Bowl 16. Go ahead, Andy.
So we named one of Joe Montana's nicknames. Well, we didn't name his other nickname. His other nickname is the Comeback Kid. He retired. He's a retired NFL quarterback and a Hall of Famer, but he was drafted by San Francisco back in 1979. He played 16 seasons, primarily with the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. He won 4 Super Bowls with the 49ers and was named Super Bowl MVP 3 times. Montana is known for his late game comebacks, leading his team to 31 fourth quarter wins, including a 92-yard drive in Super Bowl 23.
The drive.
You think about it, but you think about Mahomes. Mahomes has done some of the same things, those late late comebacks, whatever it takes to win. But listening to Patrick talk about Joe, it was kind of cool because sometimes you don't always hear other quarterbacks giving kudos to other quarterbacks. And I think that just shows a character of Patrick Mahomes, how he's a really, truly genuine guy.
Well, here's a little footnote to that quote. I was the last person that got a question in, and that was my question. How about that?
That's pretty awesome. I am going to say that another reason that I appreciate that it's Joe Montana that he patterns or idolizes or whatever, as opposed to others, is and this is me speaking as a fan, and we're talking about 80s and 90s, and I was in my teens and 20s. So let's put that in perspective. But Joe has that wholesome, down to earth appearance and interaction with his family and such. And not all of the greats have that wholesome background where others have things that pop up that you're like, oh, okay. Mahomes has a family and he's very proud of that. And I'm really it excites me as a fan to know that that's the person he wants to model after, is one that has kept himself not mired down by a lot of controversy and was able to have success. So as a fan and as a long time, 55-year-old Chiefs fan, that's something that excites me, because my quarterback wants to have a similar impact on the league that Joe Cool did. And that's kind of nice to know that he's not, he's cognizant of beyond the field. My two cents.
Okay, well, let's continue to move on here. For the first time in common draft era, every team owns their own first-round pick. All right, Kerry, what do you think of that? Every team actually gets a pick, and they can stick around for the first night.
Well, I kind of feel like we're going to see some surprises. We always do. But it is interesting and intriguing that this is the first year that there's not prior changing of it. But there hasn't been a lot of big name there's big names signing, but they're signing back with their own squad. So we're not seeing these mega deal trades as of yet, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes down. Billy, Steven, you know all about the way that Howie works. We have that same kind of mentality in our head office. So it'll be interesting to see what flows up on draft day, but kind of intriguing that everything stayed the same, but also those that are needing those key pieces, those are higher in the draft anyway. So I'll be interested to see if anyone changes to get Saunders.
Steve?
They may all have their own picks now. I think when it comes down to draft day, there will not be 32 teams picking all their picks in round one. As Kerry was kind of getting into, Howie will make multiple trades come draft day, draft weekend, however you want to have it. Regardless if they're moving up, moving back, trading to go get somebody. I think that you're gonna see some things happen. I do not think we're gonna get through, draft day one with all 32 teams picking their pick. I think there are going to be some surprising things. We'll see if somebody, I don't think Tennessee's trading out of the one spot there, but I do say within the top 15 that there'll be some moves.
Steve? Oh, I'm sorry, Ben.
Yeah, I agree with Steven. I think this is gonna be how bad do you want some of these players? Because I think that some of these teams ain't never really had leverage. And like Kerry said, when you talk about the top 10, it's how do they maneuver in the top 10? But certain teams don't want to be at pick 11, pick 12, pick 13. So they're either gonna trade out of those picks. And if you're a playoff team, that means you're picking real low and you want to stay a playoff team, you're gonna have to move up to get some players that you want. So yeah, I don't think everybody's I think it's great that everybody has a pick, but some of these teams don't need picks. Howie Roseman, Harry Roseman is the Wizard of Oz. I don't know how this dude is doing it, but he is doing it, and he's doing it in free agency, and he's going to do it in the draft. But this comes down to my GM is better than your GM, and I'm going to show you why I'm better than y'all. If you got the best GM, you got a shot to have the best team because they got to know how to maneuver these picks. Look, the NFL is real similar to basketball. If they ain't going top 15, you hope they pan out. Top 15 players mean they walk out of college, they walk into the league, and they start. Tennessee better not trade that number one pick. I'm just saying, Tennessee needs all 32 first rounders, and they still ain't gonna make the playoffs. They need everybody in the first round, but I just hope Tennessee don't do nothing crazy, like draft Travis Hunter. But it is Tennessee. But I do agree with Steven, man. It's gonna be a lot of trades, and if every team picks in the first round, hey man, maybe I'm in the wrong business.
Well, maybe we all are anyways, but that's beside the point. But the fact of the matter is they're not trading out of it, and they're going to take Cam Ward. So as Aaron Rodgers and Candy would say, relax. They won't be a gunslinger when it comes to that. We'll turn it over to Candy.
As I've been thinking about this topic and thinking about the draft doesn't – I would say there would be a lot of trades if there were a lot of people that we thought were really elite players up in the top 15. And I don't know that there is a lot that are elite that people really, unless you're going to get the top couple, there's a drop off, I think. And then the rest of them are about this, not as good, but not as elite. So I don't know if we're going to see as many trades as we might have thought. I think it'll be interesting. We all know who should go at number one. Now, whether Tennessee takes him or not, there is maybe 5, maybe 10 that I would say that are top 10 caliber, and the rest are if this one falls in, maybe this one fits into my scheme. So yes, if a GM is smart and wants a certain particular guy instead of just taking the best available, yes, then we might see more trades. But I don't know that we will see as many trades as we might think, because I think there is so many people that are kind of equal. Like, this guy's got a little edge here, but this guy's not. There's not as much of a drop off, I don't think, as in some drafts for this middle round. So, but I think it is kind of interesting that all 32 still have their pick at this point when we're talking less than a couple weeks away from the draft.
Well, I'll make one guarantee, and it's not one that Joe Namath would make, but I'll guarantee you this. Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport from ESPN and NFL Network will be very busy, and they better have a lot of charge on their cell phones, because those two guys are the biggest hustlers on the planet, period. So
I did double check. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead. I apologize.
I'm not a gambler, but I can predict that much. Go ahead, Carrie. That's okay.
I was just going to say, I did look, and the Bills would only be giving us one more spot, and Beach usually goes after the Bills picks. So unless we see something that someone we've been interested in, and they are as well, then I don't think we're going to be taking from the Bills this year.
No problem. All right.
We took Worthy. We got Worthy and Mahomes because of the Bills.
Sounds good. Thanks. Appreciate you adding that. NFL returning to Sao Paulo, Brazil in 2025. Carrie, your thoughts about them going to Brazil? We're not talking Rio de Janeiro. We're talking Sao Paulo, the home of the cruddy turf.
There's lots of things I have questions about, given the current political climate in the worldwide. So I'm interested to see how taking the teams outside the country is going to work anyway. But I'm not really impressed by us going back to Brazil, not because of anything other than that the turf was not designed for 300-pound men to run in cleats. So unless they've changed the turf and fixed it to where it's more of a multi-purpose as opposed to a soccer, which is lightweight, fast people as opposed to dense football players, I think they're just opening for another Jordan Love situation to pop up out of Brazil again.
Turn over to Steve. You dealt with it
I don't think it was
firsthand,
that
right?
bad in Brazil last time. Everyone was going crazy before last time. Oh, you can't wear green because of gangs and things of that nature. You can't go outside of the hotel. See both teams running around like they were having a good time. As far as the field goes, yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't continue to sit there and have these teams go outside of giving away a home game, etc., and having them play on soccer fields. It just doesn't work. I think I don't think it's a bad idea considering we just seen the Eagles and Packers there, and I thought it was a pretty good game. Obviously, obviously the Eagles came out on top, but like I think overall, they handled, being there, dealing with the field and everything like that, like professional teams should. You can't control everything. You bring out multiple cleats for your guys and stuff like that just to cover your bases. But I thought overall it was all right, and I think that they'll be fine moving forward. Like I said, the only thing, if I'm these players, I do ask if we could start putting some of these games in actual football grass fields instead of the soccer pitches.
Ben?
Hey man, you got to grow the game. I mean, when you're the biggest brand in America, how do you grow the game internationally? You take it, you take it international. And I think the thing about it is, when it comes to pros, look, most players, speaking from a former pro, know nothing about overseas travel. They're outside of this game, they ain't traveling. They might be traveling across the U.S. I mean, my homie Channing Crowder, when they went. When they played overseas, he said, "Do they speak English over here?" That just show you they just there to play football. They don't know anything else. And I know that Steven is our relative Eagles fan. I played in Philly. Philly used to be dirt with green paint on it. That's what the field was. It was dirt with green paint. And
that was terrible.
So but I think the thing that we don't give athletes, and not just NFL players, the greatest thing you do as a pro is adapt and adjust. Just adapt to it and adjust to it, because you're gonna play. If Super Bowl, if now Super Bowl champions have to go overseas, no one else can really complain. It used to be bad teams had to play overseas, teams that nobody really cared about. Now, it doesn't get much bigger than Philly and Green Bay when you talk about the brand of the NFL. So yeah, they'll be fine. And listen, if injuries happen in the States, they're gonna happen overseas. They're gonna happen abroad. So we got to just be able to deal with it. But I'm gonna keep saying it. As long as Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson are healthy, they care about no one else. The quarterbacks run the league. As long as they ain't hurt, everybody else is very, very much expendable.
Great point. All right, turn over to Candy.
So I echo a lot of the same sentiment. My issue with it is the same as Stevens. If you're going to have NFL players play in a game and it counts the same as any home game for anybody else, the field should be comparable and not like this soccer field that they were slipping on, that they were getting injured on. And yes, it was a good game. Yes, Green Bay lost. Yes, Jordan Love got hurt, but there were others that got hurt too. And I think when you're going to expand your brand to obviously international, you're going to do it because that's the only way the NFL can grow right now, because they're so big already here in the US. So the way that they grow and is expanding into new territories or different territories. But I think when you do that, you have to have some standards are the same for like the playing field and stuff like that. You make billions of money. You can afford to put in, if you're going to play in some of these stadiums, you can afford to put in some of the same, natural grass surfaces or something. But they're going to do it because that's the only way they can grow. And it's a business. And every business, if you're not growing, you're stagnant. So I get that they're going to do that. I get that they're going to try and expand and go to different places. I just don't like the fact that it was sloppy. The field was sloppy for the players. That's all.
The only thing I'll say to close the subject, if you can learn from last year's experience and hope that the venue and the surface is better, I've got no problem with it. I realize that, like everybody says, injuries can happen anywhere. But let's face it, Ben's right. You don't want anything to happen to the Jalen Hurtses, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and all the superstar quarterbacks because they do carry star power. We'll go to one more topic before we hit a station break. BC Lions spent way over the salary cap, and the CFL is punishing them. Get this. They were more than $347,889. I mind you, $347,889 over the $5.25 million salary cap. $5.25 million salary cap, people. 5.25. Is that less than the NFL? Yes. Which, by the way, was the most of any CFL club. They lost 2 draft picks for exceeding it, and BC's fine is $643,000, $667. So 643, 667. If you're looking for some lottery numbers, I gave them to you. And if you win, I don't want to know about it except the fact that those that win it on this panel, that's your compensation because I dug out of my packs and bag of tricks to dig up this topic to begin with. The CFL on Inside the Fiction. Yes. All right. With that said, what do you think about the money over the salary cap for the British Columbia Lions, Carrie?
Well, it's not like they say it was an accounting mistake. That's they're not using the right accounting tools if they're going to try to claim that. Interesting. And so far, either the CFL or the XFL or whatever any of those are, the spring leagues have been able to capture my interest. So I'm curious to know. It's just interesting to me to think about how much of an impact that is, because I don't know that is there enough following to spend that kind of money? I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud because I don't have a lot of opinion other than they just haven't been able to capture me as a fan yet.
Fair enough. Okay, Steven.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, let's punish a team that actually has money to spend on their team, and let's penalize them for it. Not only are we going to fine them, we're going to take away talent they could potentially have. If I'm them, I just fold. Like, listen, this is way you want to go about it here. Take your ball, take your team, take everything you got. We're going to go do something else. Like, I mean, what else do you want them to do? They're fighting an impossible battle trying to compete and capture fans, not only in Canada, but from the NFL, from the United States. That's a no-win situation. We're going to penalize the team. We're going to take money. We're going to take picks. I mean, just take their heart and soul while they're at it. If I'm a Lions fan in that aspect, I'm just like, you know what, man, hell with supporting this. I can't do it.
You know, these are the kinds of topics, by the way, that make reels very, very popular. We're talking $643,667 for a league that is absolutely broke. I would think that's more valuable than that or the picks, let alone the money, right, Ben?
Yeah, but listen. Congratulations to BC Lions. Nothing screams. We love our players more than listen. Y'all come over here, man. We're gonna give y'all more money. We willing to get fined. Well, think about this. People go, why would they do that? We got to get some type of publicity, right? If people ain't watching the games, right? I don't even know when the games are played. I know a lot of players that went to the CFL. Chad Ochocinco went to the CFL, right? They saying, hey, man, what's going to get me to come to Canada? Hey, man, we're going to pay you a little bit more money. Prove it. We just got fined for it. All right. I'll come up to Canada, play some CFL. And this is a non-starter to me, though. Like Steven said, hold on for a second. Hold on. When you going to take away draft picks? Most people didn't even know CFL had a draft. You're going to take away my first and second round pick because I'm giving my money. I thought that if the team get fined, they get fined and you move on. The team, my team, I'm the owner of the BC Lions. I paid my team, my players more. I'm going to get fined. Hey, man, we're going to take draft picks. Dude, I ain't got but two. You going to take the two that I got? Okay. All right. I mean, you want to know why the CFL will not get popular? Stuff like this. I don't know who the commissioner of the CFL is, but he's probably real similar to the commissioner of baseball, right? You don't need him. You don't need a commissioner of baseball. You don't need a commissioner of CFL. They do nothing. Neither one of them. So, listen, if I did go to the CFL, like shout out to, I want to take for the BC Lions. Why? Because I might not get viewership, but my lady gonna appreciate that check, and we getting a bigger check than you. So win the championship, my check is bigger. But at least it was in 2024. I don't know how that's gonna be in 2025. But this is ridiculous. Great, listen, great. At least I love the fact that you dug this up, Scott. But if you play for the BC Lions, you better save your money. Cause them checks gonna go back to normal in 2025. But for one season, everybody got some bonuses. I can live with that.
Well, let's face the reality. A few people realize the British Columbia Lions. I actually root for them, by the way, because there is that Lions connection. They didn't win the Grey Cup last year. You're still thinking pick some money for them, even though it didn't even hit the $1 million range.
The Yankees didn't win. The Yankees do it. The Yankees do it every year, don't they?
Of course, you don't have any long championship throughout, let alone the fact there's only 9 teams and there should be 10. One for every province. I always thought the Maritimes should get one, but who knows? Maybe I'll go ahead and find a prominent CFL guy. Although I got to give you guys a tip, though. I am going to have a UFL guy on in the next 2 or 3 weeks, Ben and Steven. I've been talking about it for a while, but I had to get this topic in because it was craving to cover as many leagues I could. And we have on the Canadian Football League. All right, Candy.
So last year, CFL players earned $73,200 on average. The top 25 salaries in the CFL range from $205,000 to $600,000. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, but they play. It's a 21 weeks. 21 weeks. They play 18 weeks and have 3 byes for their season. They average. Last year, they averaged 22,795 fans per game. So 22,000 fans, and that's in attendance. They saw their ratings go up a little bit. In 2023, they went up 9%. Last year, they only went up another 2.3%. Does this surprise me that should they have gotten penalized 2 draft picks? Here's the thing. If they knew it going in, then yes. But is it steep and should it be that? I don't think so. But if that's what their rules are, that's what their rules are. And you got to penalize people if they go break whatever rule it is or whatever the penalty is. They probably knew going in what it was. So, and maybe they have enough talent that they're okay with not the 2 draft picks.
Well, let me tell you, a couple things I know about the CFL is I did once upon a time on another network have the opportunity to interview Wally Bono, who was a legendary coach of the British Columbia Lions. And recently I had an opportunity on the Motor City Mad Mouse show to interview Danny McManus, who actually played his high school ball here in our neck of the woods and played for Florida State. And Danny was good. I learned a lot about the league, let alone the rouge. That's the one way you can score a point when the thing is kicked way back in the end zone, or the horses could go out there and graze if they want to. And those field dimensions are wild. And the fact that I learned that they don't have any tight ends in the league. So now you have yourself a wide range of
Ben's like, hold on, Mike discriminated against me.
They have no tight ends in that league, my people, my colleagues. They got wide receivers look like a bunch of monkeys.
I take back everything I said then. I take it, fine them. That's it. No, I'm just
You didn't know. Wait a minute. Wait. You didn't even know that they
hold on,
tight ends.
But I did know that the CFL has better fan attendance than everybody not named the NBA and the NFL. I mean, the NBA, I think that MLB and NFL averages more fans than the CFL averages more fans than a lot of other major sports. I'm just saying, But you
Yeah.
better get you some tight ends, man.
Well, let me
Not
tell you
with the
something. Let me tell you something, Ben. Of 22,000 people, I can tell you right now, some of the mid-majors in college average more than the CFL.
I was about to say
Really?
all you just told
Really?
us, Candy, was NCAA football gets more average fans in the seats than the CFL does. Not surprised.
But really, 22,000? Everybody's picking on Major League Baseball. There are some clubs that do way better than that. We know the ones that don't spend any money or tour in minor league parks are going to get that. That'll change eventually. But let's face the reality. If you want to go Grey Cup, that's actually on a bucket list of mine, but don't expect to bring your flip-flops and your shorts up there. If I were you, I'd make sure you have your long johns and a few pairs of gloves if you plan to go to the Grey Cup, and that's usually probably not a sellout either. In fact, I'll bet there were more games at the LA Coliseum for Super Bowl I, let alone the fact that there's any for any Grey Cup. Now, I'm probably going to alienate a Canadian fan base by these comments, but there have been some good players that have played there in the past, like Warren Moon and a list of others. But the fact that we got on this topic because the British Columbia Lions got fined all of $643,667.
So Scott, to give you an idea, the Grey Cup last year saw an attendance of 52,349 fans, marking the highest attendance since 2018.
So there you go. 52,000 people. 52,000. There you go.
Still not better than most college games.
Well, some of the college games don't even have capacities of over 50,000 at their stadiums. That's just a Grey Cup, Stephen. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the average. They need I'll tell you what, I'm going to lobby and be a politician. I don't know if it'll ever work. They need to get a team in the Maritimes, baby, wherever that's at. I think that's far east, right near the water. So we'll do it. We'll go to Rand McNally and Google and figure out where it is. They need 10 teams. They only got 9. The only good thing about 9 is Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey's number 9. But you know, it's also good right now. We're going to a station break. How about Canadian Football League on Inside the Pigskin, because we go far and we go wide tonight. Don't worry, we're going back to Kansas City and New England after this station break.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a link to our merchandise store as well as a plethora of a lot of great content. Go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit it, like us, share it with all your friends and family. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday and Thursday nights, you never know what we're talking about. Except Thursday nights, we do talk NHL hockey and that too as well. So if you want to advertise, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
I hope everybody was entertained by that segment, because that might cost me a little sleep there to talk about the CFL. But one thing I'm always entertained about on this show every week is when Ben has that unbelievable hat, his trademark hat. We love it when he wears it. Hey, that thing to me is classic, brother.
He got called. I mean, I've heard. I was the park ranger. The people call it the park ranger hat. The best thing I've heard thus far, I was in the mall the other day. The guy said, "Man, you ever seen Curious George?" Like, yeah, he said, "You got the Curious George hat on." So I call this is the Curious George hat. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's the Curious Being hat.
George, I like that. I'm talking about monkeys of the Canadian Football League, and this guy brings up the Curious George hat, Mike. So what did you learn out of the CFL? The fact that they don't have any tight ends?
No, the fact that they don't want to. You get fined for paying people what they worth. What are you doing? Listen, it's my money. If I'm the owner, it's my money, right? What is? I don't know if the owner's a big.
I still believe they have a salary cap for a league that barely makes a profit. I'd be like, what? What are we doing?
Listen. You know who pissed off at the CFL? The WNBA. They the one pissed. Wait a minute, they can give us more money? Yeah, they could actually give you more. They're gonna get fined. What? Yeah, they can give you more money, they're gonna get fined. So BC is really willing to give you more, even though we're gonna get fined. I hope they win the Grey Cup in 2025. I hope they win.
Well, I do too. Well, remember, Marshawn Lynch says I got to do these interviews or I'm going to get fined. Actually, I think the CFL did go out there and hire a new commissioner, but he has a TV background. Candy will probably dig that up right now. But yeah, Marshawn Lynch, I better do this interview or I'm going to get fined. Another guy. So Marshawn Lynch is so shrewd that he went out there.
Like the players don't really come up and say, "Hey man, I think y'all my check was a little bit too big this week. So do y'all need me to get that back?" No, people don't do that. If the bank sent me the million they were supposed to send, Scott, being sent to Scott, I don't do wire transfers. I do podcasts.
So the current commissioner is Stuart Johnson, who was appointed in April of 2025, so very recently. Johnson, prior to becoming commissioner, he served as president of TSN, the sports network, since 2010.
Well, there you have it. Now you even have the commissioner. Look at that. Hey, Kenny, 49ers, glad to have you back. Yeah, we had some good 49ers talk to you. Have an opportunity to come on there and check out everything on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. We talked a little about Joe Montana, so if you have a chance, please listen to that early. Glad to see you in the chat room. So great stuff. All right, well, we're going to go on to something a little bit more simple with a lot of legendary tones to it. The New England Patriots Hall of Fame now includes Bill Parcells. The fans didn't vote for him, so owner Robert Kraft decided to add him. How about that? So what do you think about that, Carrie, the fact that Bill Parcells in New England Patriots Hall of Fame, and I know he drafted Drew Bledsoe and took him to a Super Bowl.
Well, it seems like he needed to be in there, but there's always going to be the Patriots are always going to be a burn on my side, and so don't have a lot positive to say about the Patriots.
That's okay. Well, it's okay. I'm sure Steven Reichel.
I'll say it like this. I don't get it because Bill Parcells. When I think of Bill Parcells, he's the New York Giants head coach in my eyes. I'll always see him that way. That's where he made his name. That's where he made his mark in the NFL. I mean, obviously he bounced around there a little bit. Was there in Dallas, went to the Jets, then kind of settled there in New England. I don't. I mean, I guess it's more of a thing for the Pats Nation and Robert Kraft to say if he belongs in their Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, however you want to refer to it. Is as a coach, is he deserving? Absolutely. His body work speaks for himself, and as you guys had already mentioned, he brought in a Drew Bledsoe. He led them to a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, that they fell short. It is what it is. But Bill Parcells, absolute legend. He's his coaching tree is just as impressive as some of the other Hall of Famers that we know of. So deserving, yes. Weird, possibly, but that's for the Pats fan to debate and argue, in my opinion. What do you got there, Ben?
Listen, yeah. Robert Kraft knew he messed up when he decided to let the fans vote him in. I mean, the fans look. Give fans a lot of credit. They know what they're looking at. And just because he had an incredible career when he was with the Giants doesn't mean that they appreciated him when he was with the Patriots. No one cares about the coach that lost the Super Bowl, even if he was an incredible coach. Robert Kraft knew what the hell you got him voting for. You could just put him in anyway. Just put him in there. Don't even make this more than it has to be. Robert Kraft knew, hey man. Robert Kraft, this is what it was. Robert Kraft told Bill Parcells, you up for the Patriots Hall of Fame, and he didn't get voted in. So you're like, dude, I can't look crazy. Yeah. Hey, go ahead and put him in. I think that's probably what it was. But I'm like Kaylee, though. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about the Patriots. No, because I'm just saying, Bounty Gate, Flake Gate. Well, they didn't do Bounty Gate. They did the Flake Gate and all these other things, and we just act like it didn't happen, right? Burn the tapes. Of course,
forgot about Spygate. Spygate's the bigger one.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, if the University of Michigan can have the stealing signs, where's the Netflix special about the Patriots? Bill Belichick, he's in college now. Why don't we get to see that? Tom Brady, he ain't even playing no more. See? Could you imagine if if Philadelphia did that or John Gruden did that? Man, it'll be a mini series. I'm just saying, but
I mean,
hey,
there's
Bill
more than that.
Parcells,
You got the tuck rule. I mean, there's so many things that the Patriots got favoritism on. It's just I don't get why.
I mean, didn't Charles Wilson ask Tom Brady, "Hey man, was that really a fumble?" He said, "Yeah, it was a fumble." Like you talk about it was a fumble, but who cares? Like, okay, it was a fumble. Can we go back to the game? That's like when a ref blow a call and they say after we looked at it, yeah, it wasn't a touchdown. We still lost. Yeah, but we apologizing for it. Are you getting fined? Do you play for the BC Lions? No. Oh, okay. Well, you can't get fined. Okay. But yeah,
I know one thing Ben's going to take away from this show. The British Columbia Lions, yes.
Listen, listen. I'm gonna walk around try to do some random trivia with people saying, "Man, you know about the BC Lions?" They're gonna be like, they're gonna say the Lions in Detroit. No, not that Lions. I'm talking about the ones in Canada. They're gonna be like, man. Only thing people know about Canada is Drake. That's about it.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, if this satirism makes more podcasts popular and reels go wild, I'm glad I incorporated that topic. All I'll say on it before I turn over to Candy is this. When you're a team that's down right now and you hire Mike Vrabel to straighten out a mess, you need positive publicity. This move could have happened way sooner than it did. It happened. I'm done. Candy, you're not.
So I think part of some of the struggle is that Parcells wasn't at New England very long. But if we go back to the history, Parcells returned to the NFL in 93 as the head coach for the struggling New England Patriots, who were fresh off a 2-14 record in 92. Within 2 years, he coached the team to a 10-6 record in 94 and its first playoff game in 8 years. In 96, he guided the Patriots to their first division title in 11 years and only the second and third home playoff games in franchise history. The Patriots went all the way to the Super Bowl, but lost to, who was that? Oh, yeah, my Green Bay Packers, in New Orleans. Parcells left the Patriots after disagreements with owner Robert Kraft, who had bought the team in early 94. So he was even before Kraft. So I think some of us forget that history, or we don't look up some of that history. Now, is that enough to be in New England's Hall of Fame? If that's what they want, if they want to put someone like that in there that turned the franchise around a little bit, go for it. Do I think 3 years qualifies to be in a Hall of Fame? I'm not too sure about that, but hey, New England Patriots are not my team, so what they want to do it, go for it.
All right. Well, you know what? We started the show with the Kansas City Chiefs. We got two topics that end it that way. So let's talk about Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy is earning $800K after taxes and put his car costs. He pays $500K. Now we do have a video of that on our YouTube channel. We're not going to play it. But when you go out there and earn $800,000 and you're spending $500,000 toward a vehicle, let me ask you, Carrie, what type of vehicle do you think this guy should be driving?
Well, if I was his mama, he wouldn't have bought a $500,000 car, but that's neither here nor there. I don't understand us wide receivers and from Texas. They seem to have an issue with cars. I understand when you get a very large contract and you have this unprecedented ability to spend anything you want. You do something big, but that's obtuse in my opinion. I hope that there's somebody that can step in and help this young man understand that his paychecks may not last forever and help him to plan for forever as opposed to for right now. So all I can say is if that was if that's my child, he would not be spending that kind of money. I could give you a reference of a 22-year-old in Springfield, Missouri that would have tell you the same thing. So my own child. So, yeah, I find it interesting. I understand because I was a teacher. I've read Dr. Ruby Payne's books about poverty and how this all plays out. And I understand the concepts and what comes behind this and everything else that goes into play. I just hope that these kids that come into these large sums of money have someone that speaks to them and gets to their heart and to their mind, not trying to say, what can you do for me? Or you can buy this for me and things like that. I just hope there's somebody out there for each one of those kids that gets these huge amounts of money through NIL, through contracts, whatever, that can step up and say, okay, yeah, you can spend some money now, but let's look at what that does for you in the future. Okay, mom stepped off the box now.
Talking from a pure mother. Okay, what do you think, Stephen, about this guy's way of doing things in terms of his vehicle versus his money?
He's an idiot. He's an idiot trying to show off for people who really don't care about him. He needs to take some lessons from my hometown here in Philadelphia. I mean, Jalen Hurts is still in his home that he's basically grown up in. Jalen Hurts is 200 some odd $1 million quarterback. Take a look at AJ Brown. Me and Ben talk about this all the time. He goes to the stadium in what a Nissan Accord, a Toyota Camry, whatever that thing is, man. You don't have to sit there and throw your money into a car that you're not that you really don't need. What do you sit there and need a $500,000 car for? I mean, listen, and Carrie made some points there. Like this is something me and Ben we beat this drum all the time. These players need to talk to somebody, regardless if it's somebody who's been in the league, somebody who's out of the league, even somebody who did have good contracts and did get a lot of money. Here's another example. Go look at Chad Ochocinco. See how much he's flying around, going to this event, going to that event. You want to know why? Because he did not spend his money on ridiculous stuff, all the chains and everything. He openly admits they were fake. It was fake. I just did it for so everyone thought that's how I was living. That's why he's going around the FIFA World Championships and doing all this other stuff. Be smart with your money, guys. Be smart with your money, because it ain't always going to be there. What happens when, God forbid, Xavier gets hurt next season and his career's over? They gonna come repossess that stuff. Boy, what are you doing? God, bro. God, my friend. I know Ben's got plenty to say on this subject.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I think Stephen hit it on the head. I mean, when you get listen, you Xavier Worthy, right? You ran the fastest time in NFL history at the combine. I mean, you get to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's something that my cousin told me. He said, my cousin told me when I got drafted, he said, if you drive in a court and I drive in a court, your court is better than mine because of who you are. Like, people can assume, oh man. I mean, I remember when LeBron James was doing, Kia commercials. To this day, I don't care. LeBron James did not drive a Kia. I don't care what nobody said. He didn't drive a Kia. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. For who and for what? You got a $500,000 car. For what? I'm not saying you can't get it, but when you get to a point to where they make stuff that you cannot afford, you don't want it. We usually want stuff we cannot get. If we got the money to get it. It's something that a teammate told me. He said, Ben, you get to live an extraordinary life. Be an ordinary man. What? Your life is extraordinary, but be an ordinary man within it. Because what happens is Kirk Cousins drives a minivan. He bought a new one. He had an old one. He bought a new one. AJ Brown, he drives a Honda Accord. Now, that's not the only car he has. That's the car he drives, right? But who are you trying to impress? Like, for what? And that's the one. And this is me being, much older now. But I'm a country boy. So when I was with the Titans, yeah, man, I was the top pick of the team, man. So I was making some really, really good money. But somebody said you are a reflection of your bank account. So whatever your bank account says, that's who you are. So all that pretty stuff is cool, right? But all that stuff get repossessed. And they coming to you quick. They know where you live. So if you are Xavier Worthy, look, you're gonna do how you want to do it, young man. But let me tell you something. If you gotta show it off, that's where your heart lies. If I gotta do, let me show y'all about my collection. Let's go into my kitchen. Let's see what's in the refrigerator. Food. That's what's in the refrigerator. That's what you usually put in there. I just think that when you Peyton Manning drove a dealer car. Every year he played in the league, he drove a dealer car, right? That's why Peyton Manning can have the things he have now. Delayed gratification. So Xavier Worthy, you see these right here? I wear beads, right? I've never wore chains. I live in Georgia. They ain't finna kill me over no beads. Before they say stick them, here you go, sir. I mean, I don't care about the jewelry. I don't care. I just think that you talk with people. Listen, Xavier Worthy is the only NFL player in his neighborhood. Ask your neighbor what they do for a living. They're probably a dentist, right? So they live in where you live in, and they don't have a $500,000 vehicle. They kids can go to the same schools your kids go to. So that's what I be trying to get people to see. You are here because you are athletic. They are here because they work hard. And they're going to still be here. They're going to say, oh, we had a bunch of Chiefs come through here. A bunch of these guys used to live next to me. Y'all all get the same house with the same kind of cars. Y'all throw the same parties. And 4 years later, I'm still here and you're gone. Why? Because, if your money isn't working for you, you just spending it all. And for what? Like, I'm like Chad Ocho. I didn't go to Claire's. I had the fake earrings in my ear. It was a little store I used to go to because my ears ain't pierced. So they had these little magnets that I can stick behind my ear and I can make it look like I got earrings, right? My teammates to go, Ben Troop got so much money, he ain't even got his ears pierced. Mind you, I got teammates got $80,000 watches, and I would look at it like everybody. I said, let me touch that. Oh, man, that's nice. And I give it back. I don't want to drop it. I'm not getting insurance on jewelry. I'm not getting insurance on something. I put insurance on my head, my life, my home, and my car. So, Xavier, I hope you finna play as long as Patrick Mahomes and make that type of money. Because if you buy a $500,000 car with your rookie deal, if you get a second contract, he's going to buy the dealership. So, I'll never understand it. But, I'm a country boy, man. Sweet tea and shade trees for life over here. We don't do that over here in the Troop household. My wife wanted a greenhouse, and that cost $69 on Amazon. I said, you sure it ain't a cheaper price? I'm just saying, you sure we can't get it for the cheap? There's a lady, when I lived in Nashville, there was a lady. I used to wear fossil watches. There's a lady who used to work in the mall, and when she used to see me, you know what she would say? Being the price is what the price is. I said, listen, can I just get it for like 60? She told me I got a Titans player trying to bargain for a watch that costs $70. I said, ma'am, listen, all you're going to do is pull out another one from the bottom shelf. Give me the one that fell off the truck. Why I got to pay $70? So, hey, but listen, different story. I'm from Georgia. He from Texas. I ran a 4 He ran a 4.2. So do what you want to do, young man. But no one cares, though. The only reason why people hang around with you because you paying for the check. I'm just saying, you don't know if it's you or because you Xavier Worthy, but you better be AJ Brown. He buys mannequins. Have y'all seen this? He buys mannequins and he puts his jerseys on. That's what AJ Brown does. That's a level of vanity that I wish I had, man. I wish I had a bunch of. Well, he looks like the mannequin. I don't look like the mannequin. But at the same time, talk to Patrick Mahomes. Ask him what he does. Ask Travis Kelce what he does. Well, Travis Kelce got Taylor Swift. So don't ask him. Ask somebody else. Ask Patrick. I'm just saying.
Great stuff. You know what I learned out of this? Delayed gratification. I like that. That's great.
I mean, that's what it is.
But I'm giving you a compliment.
I'm just saying, microwave blessings. Put it in the microwave. I want it right now.
Yeah, but well, no, you don't want me to get involved with microwaves. I just throw sandwiches in there.
You'll put a sandwich in the microwave?
Many years ago, I got to tell you this, and I'm not proud of what I did. In 1984, at the University of South Florida, I tried to make a grilled cheese sandwich in a microwave for like 5 minutes. I could have taken that cotton picking sandwich and I could have banged somebody over the head with it. Would have been equivalent to a hammer. And I'll tell you, I could have threw that sandwich and broken a triple pane window there. Triple pane window. So yeah, now that you bring up a microwave, that's my microwave story. But that delayed gratification is great. All I'm going to say about the topic here is I can only imagine what his insurance is. But we ain't talking about the car. We're talking about the insurance too. Candy, take it away because now Ben's got me going. We got one more topic to get to.
Xavier Worthy, I think you need to go to our YouTube channel and watch Scott. You did a broadcast you interviewed NFL Antomius Wise, who used to play for the Washington Redskins, and he talks about life after football, and he talks about taxes and financial planning and stuff like that. Xavier, that's what you need. On a rookie contract, you don't know that you're going to get your second or third contract. You do not. If you're going to spend that kind of money, spend it on an investment. And a car is not an investment. A car depreciates. You're going to lose value. Put it in something that appreciates. You need somebody to help you with that, because that kind of money you do not spend on a rookie deal. The only reason you're doing that is because you want attention from people that are around you. And let's face it, you're in the NFL. You already have that attention. If you prove it on the field, no problem. But trying to prove it outside, you have no reason to do that. No reason. You're just asking for someone to steal a vehicle that you got. I'm sorry. That's just.
Well, I interviewed the good kid. He's a good kid, but obviously a rookie deal isn't the right way to go. All right. One more Kansas City topic. Ready, Carrie, for this one? I think this is one of the most interesting things I've seen, and now it'll probably be coming to a head not so distant future. Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas? What's next for the Kansas City Chiefs? They're talking about building a dome, and it is also being considered to bid for major events like the Super Bowl. Last year, Jackson County, Missouri, voters rejected a proposed sales tax measure that would have funded renovations for Arrowhead Stadium as well as a new ballpark for the Royals. Candy or Terry, what's the latest on this? Where do you think the Chiefs should wind up?
Well, just so you're aware that the difference between where they are now and where the targeted site may be in Kansas is less than like 20 miles. And so that may sound like a lot for some, but for me, that's a trip to the closest. I live in Southwest Missouri. I'm not in Kansas City. So I live in the South, and that's how I can get that. 20 minutes is nothing to me. That's part of my commute whenever I work in the building. That's all of that. I feel like that the Hunts are going to have to kick in some of this wealth that they have accrued the last 7 years, especially with Mahomes at the helm, and make it look like that they're wanting to invest in it as well, because that was the biggest thing that I was hearing as the backlash is, why do we have to pay for that when they have that money of their own? And if they believe in the product, if they love the product, then they should be putting money in the product. There's supposedly Clark is supposed to have a new proposal out by May. It was supposed to be out in April when I first heard about it, but now it's May. I personally don't think that the Arrowhead Stadium should ever have a dome. I think football is supposed to be played outside. That's how I've always had it. That's my 2 cents. As far as what's going to happen, I'll be really sad if my state loses the team, because there's there's a lot of money generated because of where it is for the state of Missouri. If they're willing to let that go to Kansas, I guess that's just what we're going to have to deal with. But I don't know. I feel the biggest thing is I feel like the Hunts need to be throwing in more than their estate property taxes to help fund the stadium. That's me as a person, is like, you have it, this is yours. You should be, this is something that is generating your family income, so you should probably be putting money in it and not relying on taxpayers to carry your wishes out.
Steve, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got plenty. I definitely feel where Carrie's coming from. I remember when Veterans Stadium was knocked down, and we're talking about the build for Lincoln Financial Field and Citizens Bank Park and all things of that nature. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter who the owners are. It doesn't matter how much the owners have, how much as you were saying, that the Hunts need to chip in. They don't care. They don't care. That's how they stay millionaires and billionaires, because they make sure they know that they have a product that people are going to tune into, fork out money for, hundreds of dollars for jerseys and things of that nature. They're going to get those people to do that, and regardless if it stays in Kansas City or not. And from what I'm hearing, Kansas City's not the only team that their lease is up. They're getting ready to, we even hear the Bengals owner. She's sitting there saying, "Hey, our lease is up. We might move." So it's like, it's not this unheard of thing right now. So it's unfortunate that it would fall on the taxpayer dollars and things of that nature, but so is the nature of the beast, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. If they can keep the money in their pocket and have their loyal fans pay for it, that's absolutely what they're going to do.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Kelly though. I think what happens is, you always count on the taxpayers to do the things that the billionaires can do. They just know, we have negotiating power, so we don't have to do it. And I get it. Kansas City is one of the best products, if not the best product in the NFL. That don't mean I want to pay my money for it. I can be a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but people start saying, okay, if I'm helping fund this thing, what do I get outside of coming to see the Chiefs play? Because here's the thing. I funded thinking it's going to be in Kansas City, and next thing you know, they decide, well, in the best interest of the fans, we're going to put it here. I mean, the Titans right now are trying to decide, do they get a dome? They're going to stay in Nashville, but they're a cold weather city, but they want to be able to host a Super Bowl. They sure as hell ain't going to one. So they want to be able to see if they can. They want to see if they can host one to at least see what good teams look like. I just think that the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, it is not that old. The Georgia Dome wasn't even that old when they blew it up. Right? It wasn't. When they decided they were going to get a Mercedes-Benz Dome to get rid of the Georgia Dome, when I tell you these Atlanta fans were livid, because where it is not, it's not a lot of money in the area that they put it in. But once again, y'all need the taxpayers to put a stadium up, and yet when the same taxpayers ask for certain things, it's city's kind of broke right now. Where the city has to come up with half. Right, and then the taxpayers usually come up with the other half or a third or what we have. But I just never ever understand how you make, because when they say the taxpayers, that's everybody, whether you root for Kansas City or not. If you're in that general vicinity, they're gonna pull that money from you. So I think that's what Galen's really talking about. It's not the fact that we don't love the Chiefs, we don't love them that much. We finna get a new stadium. You telling me Kansas City can't get a new stadium? If anybody can get a new stadium, Kansas City can get one. But the first thing the billionaires say is how much is the city going to fork out before we even. So, hey man, the Marlins got a new stadium, people. I mean, if you want to talk about people who are livid, when the Marlins got a new stadium in Miami, they was like, "What? Derek Jeter."
Don't get me started on that one.
I'm just saying, and the Tampa Bay Rays. Newsflash: the Tampa Bay Rays actually get to play in Tampa now. Wow. The Yankees said, y'all don't play in Tampa. We play in Tampa. Well, y'all play at St. Pete. So, now they're in Tampa, across the street
from the started on that one either.
I got another one I want to throw in here. I got another thing. Like, listen, the Sixers were trying to make the city pay, not only pay for it, but move out of the Wells Fargo Center into Center City, where they had bought out all these businesses and stuff like that. Guess what the city of Philadelphia citizens did? They went down there and they basically told the Sixers to go stick it up their butt, man. They were, we're going to move to New Jersey. Go move to New Jersey. We'll go get another team. The fans that have to foot this bill are absolutely sick of these owners sitting there like with their hands out more. The fans are done with it. Regardless if you're in Kansas City, if you're in Miami, you're in New York, whatever. They're done with it. You guys are millionaires and billionaires. Stop pitching pennies out of our pockets.
Well, here's what I'm going to say about this whole thing. Number one, keep in mind the state of Kansas has a Kansas Motor Speedway. So they've got that. Number two, I don't know why I have a gut feeling on this. I really do. And by the way, Ben, if you ever bring up the Marlins and the Rays again, I'm putting you on 108 Stitches baseball talk, and you're going to talk about it on that show.
No. I used to play for the Bucks, and when I moved down there, they asked me, Ben, what you looking forward to? I was looking forward to going to a Rays game. This is when I didn't know that, because they got George Steinbrenner Field right across from the Bucks Stadium. They said they don't play there. They play in St. Pete. I'm like, what the hell? For real? So
well, let me tell you, I could go deeper with that topic. Once upon a time, they went out there and had an opportunity to get a stadium next to the old Tampa Stadium, and they had a sign ready, the old Tampa Coliseum, but it didn't work out. They said, St. Pete, you can have it. So there's a little history. We'll get into that another time. But the reality is this. My gut feeling tells me that the state of Kansas is going to bend over backwards to build them that new dome stadium and lay out the red carpet if Kansas City, Missouri doesn't get it figured out. Kerry, I don't know if you're going to like what I have to say, but I have a gut feeling that they're going to do it. If I'm wrong, it won't be the first. It won't be the last. So I have to eat crow. That's better than that old grilled cheese sandwich that could have forced everybody into dentures anyways. But still, really, seriously, really, as Jay would definitely say, Aunt Rhea, thank you very much for saying what you just said. Brian Pettit, the trip was very productive, I'm sure. Ben's not guilty. He's just a great addition. But the fact that he wants to get into a stadium conversation in Florida, I give it to him. Hey, this guy's one of our newest MVPs on the broadcast. I'm telling you, this guy's unbelievable. He really is. So I just have a gut feeling that it's gonna go in Kansas over Missouri, but Candy might think differently. I'll give her a last word on the topic.
Where do I start? So the NFL is very interesting because I've always followed the Green Bay Packers. And as you know, the Green Bay Packers don't have an owner. They don't have one owner. They have a multitude of owners because they have stockholders. So they're not owned by one person. Will Lambeau Field ever be gone? We don't know, but for the longest time, let's face it, Lambeau Field is historic and all that. Now, I can tell you on the flip side, since some people brought in Major League Baseball, the Brewers at one point they had talked about they needed a new stadium, and the city council voted on it, and it narrowly passed. They added a sales tax to 5 counties, that Milwaukee and 4 other surrounding counties. And so they added sales tax to it to help pay for the stadium. Do the Brewers have an owner? They sure do. Who makes a lot of money? Yes, the owners make a lot of money. But we also have to realize there is an economic impact for the local businesses, the local hotels, especially for NFL, because let's face it, these stadiums, we were just talking about attendance. Attendance for CFL is 22,000. Attendance for NFL games is way more. So the economic impact that you bring in, yes, your billionaires keep getting more money and more money. And should they put the majority of the bill? Yes. But I also think they have to invest more in other parts of the team too. So the product on the field is something that you want to see. Where I think we could be advantageous is maybe we need to do a lottery that is just for NFL, and anybody that wants to buy a lottery ticket because they want to put money into it, and part of that money goes into the stadiums. So I mean, there's got to be some other things that we can do. That way, if you want to buy a lottery ticket and pay for it, go for it. If you don't have to. There's a lot of different things they can do. Yes, the owners need to step up more and should pay more for stadiums. Carrie, the one thing I will tell you about stadiums, and yes, I love Lambeau Field and it's outside. I've also been to Ford Field and it's indoors. It's not the same. It's a louder atmosphere. I've been in the Superdome. It's louder. But it also allows for other venues to come in, more concerts to come in, and you're always guaranteed of an event there if you're going to have an event there because you have a stadium. So if an owner wants to make more money, put a dome over it, put a retractable dome. Yes, they're expensive, but that was one of the best things the Milwaukee Brewers did, is it's a retractable roof. so that at any point, all their games are guaranteed a game. So if anybody wants to travel from different parts of the state to come see a game, they're guaranteed it. Whereas if they go to at Wrigley Field, they're not guaranteed a game. It could be washed out, and all of a sudden, then their travel plans, were disrupted. So,
Well, there's one they have presented because Royals Stadium and Chiefs are side by side, right? So they share parking lot. Is
Okay.
having a system that you can roll the cover to one a traveling cover, so it could be over either one stadium or the other.
That would be
That's expensive,
Yeah, that would be expensive.
but it would also benefit two parks at once. So you have half the cost for one park, half the cost for the other. I like your idea of buying into it and giving, whether it's you invest $100 and now you have you have $100 ownership into the Chiefs, then that's something that I would I would find $100 to have the certificate to hang on the wall. And that might be, a crowdfunding option would probably be a better approach. But I also know that I've watched the chatter, and it doesn't matter which stadium it goes to. A lot of the people that have been longtime season ticket members are like, these tickets are now getting to where I can't do it. I can't have these. And so at what cost? And it's not just the Chiefs. I mean, the Bills Stadium is going to price out. I saw the prices on that, and for some of the season ticket holders was $36,000 or $48,000 per seat. So you've got, at some point, you have to say, okay, where is the sweet spot? Do you want people to attend? Where are you going to put your money? How are you going to have that ticket cost so you still have the attendance and still have that revenue coming in? That's kind of, there's so many levels to that. But I do like the thought of a kind of a crowdfunding type situation, because you might see more out of that.
Yeah, by the way, Carrie, I says nice to see you here. So yeah, she comes on periodically. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, the only thing I'll say to close it out, because I want to wrap up the show, is this. I realize Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri aren't that far away, but the main thing is it's about the region anyways. As long as you keep the team in the region, albeit it's on one side of the state line or not, they're going to still be the Kansas City Chiefs. Just depends on where they're going to reside in what state, Kansas or Missouri. It could be a whole lot worse if you had to change states, let alone metropolitan areas. Then we got a problem. But the main thing is the dome stadium, bigger events. I see it either way. Obviously, there'll be more layers to be untold, but I thought it was worth bringing it up and want to make sure we brought Carrie on, since we had a lot of Kansas City topics, and this was the one that we were able to do. Great participation as the chat room continues to pick up as well. So with that said, any closing thoughts on the show real quickly before we wrap it up? Carrie, anything you want to add?
I do appreciate you letting me or asking me to be on. It's always an honor to come.
Well, you're always welcome. What do you think of Ben and Steven?
I feel like that I would have a lot of fun and be honorary with them. So maybe you have to limit how many times I'm on the show with them, because there was 2 times I'm like, oh, I wish you could see some of that.
These guys are wild. They're the best. And they've given inside the pigskin a look it never had before. One with his hat going, his hat, and the other one wearing his hat backwards. That's why they make an incredible tandem. And me, all I did was find these 2 guys. Well, I found Ben through the help of Steven, and we have ourselves a good new look here on this show for sure. And I'm glad the chat room has begun to heat up as well. So glad to have you on. All right. So with that said, Carrie, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
Well, I'm part of 3 Chicks and Chicks and Salsa. So you can find Candy Your Eye through 3 Chicks in a Pod, Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. It's like 3 Chicks. What's the YouTube?
Podcast.
Chicks Podcast, yes. Because we're speaking it into existence. We're not just a one-band show. Then you can find me. I'm Carrie Johnson. I'm spelled weird, Kari Johnson on Facebook. You can follow me. My profile's open. Send us a message at either of those places, and I'll be more than happy to respond. Truly enjoy learning from everyone. So thank you for sharing your knowledge tonight.
Thanks a lot for being. All right, Stephen, who's going to be my co-host on the Professor and the People debuting Monday night. Stephen and I, we're going to talk combat sports, wrestling, whatever this guy writes about, whatever he conjures up. He's going to do it. And hey, you know what? Maybe one of these times we'll bring Ben on if he wants to come on and make it a three. So we're going to, Ben and I and Stephen, we're going to be.
Watch that now. Whoa.
We're going to have a good lead in for baseball. All right. But anyway, Stephen's going to be a new writer for the South Florida Tribune. We're going to do everything we can to bring up to speed on the 5 W's and 1 H. You know what they are, Stephen?
What's that?
Well, good. You're going to learn. That's why I'm the professor, and that's why you're the pupil.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not telling them to you now, but that gives you an idea what he's in for. He'll be my host there. Of course, he comes on every Tuesday night on Inside the Big Pit. So there you have it. He didn't even know, but I'll make sure.
Combat sports day. We'll give you some combat sports. Don't worry about that.
So let everybody know that you get hold of you, Stephen.
Yeah, you can follow me, Facebook, Instagram. Just type in my name, Stephen Rochelle. Same thing. I even got a YouTube channel hanging in there, just doing whatever with it. But obviously, the Twitter handle's right underneath my name there. It's Steve Sports Talk 1. You always can catch us every Wednesday on the Fan in the End with the big guy down there at the bottom. Also, JBB on. This week we're gonna have the Philadelphia Painter of the Stars, Jordan Spector is gonna be on with us. We're gonna have some fun with him this week. Big shout out to Ben from getting him on there and booking him for that one. But we got a few more other former athletes coming on over the next few weeks. It should be fun. This weekend I'll be talking to bare knuckle boxer and a boxer, but both female combat sports athletes. So gotta love staying busy. Then obviously, Monday I'm gonna be on here with Scott. Tuesday I'm on here with all you goofballs. Let's continue to have some fun and keep the good times rolling.
You can call me a goofball, but I can't cook. I love this hat. Now it's come close and personal with Ben True. Go ahead, buddy.
Listen, you can find me on all social media platforms at Ben Troop 84. Obviously, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, I'll be on the Fan in the End with the gentleman Steve Rochelle. Every Monday night, I do Winning the Division with Ryan Smitty Smith. Thursday nights, man, I'll be on with Buddy Martin show, Orange and Blue Bloods. And look, man, I'm just enjoying myself. Being able to be a part of, I'm here with this guy, man, and Miss Candy. I'm just looking forward to have fun. Look, and like I say, listen, I know you guys down there in South Florida. I know you down there with them Hurricanes and the FIUs and the FAUs. Well, I went to UF. If you don't like UF, just switch the letters. If you don't like UF, just switch the letters. That's how I feel about it. But no, man, I'm having fun on here, man. I enjoy when you talk about what do you do when football is over. People ask, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You surround yourself with quality people, man, that see something in you, that want to bring you on their platforms, and hopefully you get to figure out who you are. Hey, man, my mama told me, boy, you better find something the way you get to talk for a living. Well, here I am, mama. Here I am, and I ain't going nowhere. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying this. Like I said, I'm enjoying this. And Steve, it's good that you writing, sir, because I'm not a writer. I'm a talker. I don't do the writing, but I respect writers. I do respect writers. That ain't my forte. So Miss Candy,
I'll let you know when I start getting my Hall of Fame votes so we can fix some of this stuff.
Hey, Mama, when we can satirize the Canadian Football League and Ben's talking about it, he learned that there are no tight ends. Really? Seriously? Really?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just found that out today, but it's like, look, we got New England Patriots fans not voting people in. We got Football Writers of America not voting Hall of Famers in. What the hell going on, man?
What's going on is you. Because you know what? Put it back up there. He's a talker, not a writer. This guy can't say.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I do. I listen. I talk by trade, and my wife. If everybody want to know what my wife is, she's a money magician. You know what that is? She makes my money disappear. That's what I tell her. I say, "Girl, you are a money magician." I give it to her, and poof, it's gone.
Yep. Well, my wife makes sure our money doesn't disappear, so that's really good. They can't stop my medical bills from disappearing, but she keeps it in She's an accountant. What do you expect? She's a jack of all trades. She's an accountant. She's a nurse. She does all this stuff. So great stuff here. And what can I say for our most valuable NBC, most valuable Candy? All right, Candy, take it the rest of the way. And one thing I got to say, Ben, about your facilities in the greater Atlanta area, they do their best to preserve them. All you have to do is look at Turner Field. They turned into Georgia State. They're not so quick to tear them down. They try to use them. And if they have to get rid of them, they do. So more power to the greater Atlanta area. I wanted to get to Turner Field. Now I still have a chance to get there, even if it's Georgia State. All right, Candy, take us home.
So my last parting shot would be kudos to the UConn women for winning on Sunday. Kudos to the University of Florida. Yes, Ben, for last night. They are the only college to have 3 football national championships and 3 basketball national
Say it,
championships.
Miss Candy. Say it so they can hear it for real. They
Only college. So kudos to the University of Florida for winning last night. That was what? They only led the game for 68 seconds, but it was the 68 seconds that mattered. So kudos to them. Congratulations, Ben, on your schools winning last night.
Well, I picked Florida to win it. And you know what, Ben, if it makes you feel any good, I had an opportunity to spend some time with Gino Orium and talk to him. It was unbelievable. He treated me
Listen, Gino is the. I don't even know what category to put it. He can make up his own whatever category he want to put himself in. Gino is the gold standard, of women's college basketball. He might be the gold standard. I don't even like to just say he's the gold standard of basketball. I don't want to just say because it's women's college basketball what he's been able to do. I love what Don Staley is doing in South Carolina. She ain't Gino. I love what they're doing over there at LSU. Everybody has moments. Gino is what did Deion Sanders say? You talk about a moment. I'm a monument. Gino is a monument. This dude, but listen, Florida State, Miami, it's cool, man. It's cool. I know y'all thinking Florida just won another national championship in basketball. Yeah. It's only 3 teams in the SEC that's ever won national championships: Kentucky, Arkansas, and Florida. And to those people that don't like it, Florida is a blue blood when it comes to basketball. If we're not a blue, I ain't saying we Duke or North Carolina or Kansas or UCLA. Not that type of blue blood. But we blue bloods when it comes to this basketball thing. What's that coach we had there? Billy Donovan. What did he got voted to the Hall of Fame. How you think he got there? They got there by coaching the Bulls? No. I'm just saying he got there by coaching the boys from Gainesville. So I'm saying that my timeline has been flooded by saying stuff like, "Oh, when y'all gonna win another national championship in football?" I get it. But if you're a Miami fan, until y'all win the ACC, until y'all win that, because y'all been there 20 years. I'm just saying, Florida State, y'all won 2 games last year. Just come on. And Coach Franklin, Leonard Franklin, y'all head basketball coach, he's leaving Tallahassee. So all I'm saying is, if you want to know what a national championship looks like in basketball, Miami take a flight, Tallahassee take a drive. Come on over to GVM, man. We'll host y'all, boy. We humble hosts. But right now, everybody's drunk because they celebrating right now. So Walter Clayton Jr. and those guys, Todd Golden. So, I'm not there right now. I'm just saying I live in Georgia, and Georgia fan. Tennessee's old coach is the gold standard. I just can't remember my name. Coach Summit.
Pat Summit.
Yeah.
Pat Summit is the gold. She is the gold standard, right? She is the gold standard. Listen,
I'll say one thing, Ben. You got in the system Elijah Martin, who played at Florida Atlantic University under Dustin.
Yeah, he did. Listen, love you, Elijah. You had that came from almost from the free throw line. With that jump man dunk. Look. If you want to win national championships in basketball in the state of Florida, you come to one school. That's all I'm saying. No lies told. Like people like Ben, you think y'all gonna win? The SEC put 14 out of 16 schools in the tournament, 7 schools in the elite in the Sweet 16. Almost had an all SEC Final Four. But who won it? Who do we beat? UConn. What?
He deserved bragging rights of giving it to him, Kerry. So hang in there, Candy. Take us home for our information. All right. And the fact that he's going to get us his bio here soon with a book link, won't you? And that's your homework for as soon as you can get it, Mr. Troop.
And I'm going to sing y'all the book. See that right there? I'm going to sing y'all the book. That's me right there.
Attaboy, I'm looking forward to it. All right. Candy, take it home.
Yeah,
God
mine
bless
here
you.
too.
Getting near the end. Don't worry. Well, yours.
It's book time.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. Go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button, hit it like a share us. If you want to be a guest, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com, or if you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941.
And one last thing I have to put up there before we wrap it up, by the way, Ben, read this, my friend. Hey, Ben, I do like that hat. It is stylish.
Listen, I got a bunch. This is my favorite. I got a bunch of big hats. I got a big head, but I got a bunch of hats like this. And hey, man, I either got on a hat like this or I'm wearing Atlanta Braves hats. I only wear Atlanta Braves. I love my. I can't really talk about my Braves. They're not a real baseball team right now. Right now, they're not a real baseball team. So
my Phillies beating the crap out of them right now too.
I can claim. I'm always claim my Braves, but we 1-8 right now. So I feel like
I'll tell you what. Yeah, Marlins another story, but I'll be seeing them in the next couple of weeks. All I have this week to worry about is the University of Miami spring game, and that's it. Passing on the FAU, we had a big weekend, as we all mentioned, over at the Final Four in Tampa. And I want to thank Brian Seagrass and my alma mater, University of South Florida, for doing a magnificent job hosting the event, as well as the NCAA women's people for allowing us the necessary access we needed. I have two other good offsite interviews with Jackie Eisenhower, a former standout over at Armwood High School USF, and I did a show with Leo Haggerty, one of my colleagues up there in Tampa. So meanwhile, with that said, that does wrap up this edition of Inside the Fiction. On behalf of Carrie Johnson, who's been great, been able to hang in there all night with us. Of course, we gave her 3 topics to keep her interested, and she probably learned a little bit about us and my two new heavy hitters, and Stephen Reichel and Ben Troop, as well as her familiar colleague. But with that said, thanks for Carrie for being on, Stephen and Ben. You guys are classic, and looking forward to launching the new Professor and the People on Monday night with Stephen and I. It will be a classic, and I guarantee you by the end of that show, Stephen will know what the 5 W's and 1 H's are. I guarantee you if I have to twirl in his head.
Sure it's not the World Wide Web?
Yeah, something like that. Knowing you'll probably research it by then anyways, but that's all right. We'll give him something to do. Although he does a great job retweeting our content. And by the way, Carrie, one thing you might want to do is follow these guys on Twitter, and Stephen would love to follow you as well. All Stephen has is over 20,000 followers, that's all. So you might want to think about it. So you make a couple,
right?
Huh?
Just a few.
Just a few. Hey, these guys are heavy hitters on Twitter, and they're good people. They're great on the air, but I'll tell you, they take their social media very seriously. So once again, on behalf of Carrie, Candy, Stephen, Ben, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Fiction. See you next Tuesday night. And with Stephen and I will see Mr. Reichel on Monday night on The Professor and the People. Good night. Have a great week, everybody.